We will finish that thought later.
Oh,
but we are here live. We're here live. We're going to start our show. This is a special bonus show. That's right. For the Caps preview.
Caps drop the puck tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Or maybe it's 8 o'clock. You know what? I don't even know what time the game is. Because it might be like a nationally televised game. So we might have to ask Sammy Silber that question. What time is the game tomorrow?
We should probably figure that out in the next 25 seconds.
Right. All right, I'll do that.
Probably figure that one out.
I'll Google that while you... Oh, what kind of... Oh, we're going to do our Ref the District opening, right?
Yeah, it's just our Ref the District. We need Trev here, man. It does feel awkward without him.
It feels weird. I mean, we did this by ourselves for so long, but now without Trev, it feels like, oh, I'm doing something wrong. I'm cheating on my girlfriend or something.
All right, well, here it comes. Our Caps preview show right here on Ref the District.
I'm a pretty bad kid.
Yeah, let's talk about the bigger picture. Let's talk about how we be ballin', playing with the bridges. Let's talk about the Nats and how they always got good pitches. Let's talk about the Cats on rest to turn them boys to winners. Injuries and updates, oh yeah. To the opponent, we stand toe to toe, yeah. To the top, this podcast gonna go, yeah. I think it's something you should know, yeah.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Ref the District's special bonus episode. This is the Washington Capitals preview of the season. I'm Nathan Perry. Here with me is the Stoner.
What's up, Nathan? I said I was going to look up the Caps when they play tomorrow, and I didn't. So I'm going to do that right now.
You should do that. Trevor may or may not be joining us. He's taking care of some personal stuff, but we do got a great show planned out for this Caps our preview show for the Caps season. We've got a couple of guests lined up here. We've got Johnny Cakes Auville from 106.7, the Sports Junkies. He'll be coming on first, and then we'll have Sammy Silber, editor-in-chief of Washington Hockey Now, coming on later as well. All just talking about the Washington Capitals. So for those who've been following us more recently, you know us as more of the Washington football team, but we are a DC sports podcast. We like to talk about all the DC sports casts. So we decided to do a special bonus episode before the Capital season. We're actually going to do one next week for the Washington Wizards preview before their season as well. We'll still be live tomorrow, so you got to catch us tomorrow, 7 p.m. on all of our platforms. That's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and of course our audio platforms as well. Whether or not you listen to us on Apple, Amazon, Google, or Spotify, you can catch us there. Just make sure that you like, listen, and subscribe.
That's how we earn our living, is by all of those, right? That's how we get paid. We all get paid equally too, right?
Yeah, we all get paid a big fat zero. Hey, Sarah is watching from Canada. Thanks, Sarah, for joining us. Of course, our Canadians love the hockey, so I'm not surprised that they would be watching.
What's up,
Sarah, Sarah is an American living in Canada. I would love for her to answer this question, though. When is the last time a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup?
Oh, that's a good question. Do you know the answer, or are you just throwing that out there? Like, don't you have to know the answer?
It's a little shade as well. It's just some shade. I don't have the answer handy. EP's in the chat. Thanks for watching us.
That's a good question. I don't know that I can really think of the last time. I mean, Montreal won a lot in the 70s. I know it's been a long time for Toronto. Then who else you got? You got Vancouver. You've got help me out here, Nathan. Come on. I'm losing all my Canadian.
It's been a hot minute. It's one of the biggest things. That's 1993.
Oh, okay.
Is the guess here from Sarah? Montreal is her guess. I'm not going to fact check her. We'll just keep it. If you're listening and you want to give us a guess, go ahead and comment in there as well. We'll look it up.
Ottawa.
The Senators is another team. Can't forget the Senators.
Yeah, my bad. I'm losing a little bit of my my hockey.
Your credibility, man.
My credibility of the hockey. Yeah, I don't pay too much attention to the Canadian teams. Sorry, I just don't.
That's perfectly Canadian to say sorry and Sorry.
Eh?
We're not really sorry because we're not talking about those Canadian teams today. We're going to be talking about the Capitals and what they have coming this year. You know, you're wearing the championship hat. You've got that. You're sporting that today.
Yep.
That feels a lot longer than 3 years ago.
Yeah, it does. It does, because literally the last time they've done anything in the playoffs was that year. They haven't done anything since. They've been knocked out very early every time. So it's been a little bit sad the last couple of years, but we still have a little bit of that Stanley Cup leftover, honeymoon, if you want to call it. Whatever happens, we can always say we're the champs in 2018. So pretty happy about that. Can't take that away from us.
No, you cannot. And you can't take that away from our first guest who's joining us right now. It is Johnny Cakes Auville from 106.7, the Sports Junkie, 106.7, the Fan, the Sports Junkies here. Thanks, Cakes, for joining us today. We're going to make you the large person here. We're going to give you that special special zone here. I was told you might be wearing some bling for us today.
Yeah, like we've talked about on the Junks for a couple of years now, we certainly do not deserve these.
Oh, that's silly.
The Capitals were gracious enough to gift us these Stanley Cup rings. I'll take it off and model it. This is amazing. I mean, it's got my name right there.
Got the name on it. It's personalized too.
Wow.
So it's got
oh yeah, it's got. Oh man, that
certainly beats Stoner's hat. That certainly beats Stoner's.
That's what I got.
We can't thank the Ted Leonsis and Monumental Sports and the Caps. I mean, we have no business with these rings, even though we like to joke on the show that we are Stanley Cup champions because we have rings.
That's right, and World Series champions.
World Series champs. So thanks also to the Nats for our broadcast partners are amazing. We're happy to have the Caps as part of 106.7 The Fan, and we've developed a good relationship with their front office people. We've had players on the show, coaches on the show over the years, and it's been a great relationship over the past few years, and we're happy to continue it going forward. And again, we do not deserve these, but this is something that's it's amazing, and it's very special to me for being a Caps fan since I was a little kid. Like if you told me when I was a 10-year-old at the Caps Center, back in 1980 or 81, that at some point the Caps would eventually win a Stanley Cup, and that I'd be lucky enough to get a Stanley Cup ring as a memento, as a I'll never forget it anyway. But this crystallizes it, and it's a really nice gesture by the team. So we're all
when do you
have them?
When do you expect to get the Wizards ring to add to the collection?
Well, that might take a while. Look, we grew up we've all been here. I'm guessing you guys have been here forever too. Like, we went through a long streak there without any titles, and I consider us, fortunate and lucky to have the Caps run in 2018, and then the Nats to do what they did, win the World Series the following year in 2019. So asking for a Wizards ring soon I think it's a little greedy, but I would love to get one at one point, or more importantly, see the team, get to a level where they'd be competing for NBA titles. They've been, I would call them mediocre, but that would be an insult to mediocrity for the past, what is it? They've gone
40 years,
basically 50 years without winning 50 games. Maybe not quite 50, but since the late 70s, since they won
it's been a hot
NBA title. So hopefully they can, Tommy Shepard and company get that thing on the right track and are able to attract talent here and build around Beal, or if Beal's not the long-term answer, then get as good a package as you can for Beal and press the reset button,
Yeah, for sure. Well, before we get too much into the Caps, we did want to talk about, I'm not going to make you do what I know you absolutely loathe telling the Junkie story, That's JP's job, right? We're not going to make you do that, right?
Okay.
But I mean, 25 years in this market, basically talking sports with your boys. I mean, did you ever see that when you first started this thing, that was going to be the way you made a living, the way you raised your family?
No, that was, it was like, it was an impossible dream when we first started, because I mean, like I said, like you said, I won't give the whole origin story, but when we first started, we were doing it mainly as a hobby. I mean, we weren't getting paid any real money. We were basically getting paid gas money to do the shows on the weekends at WJFK at that point. And, we've been fortunate. We've worked at it. We've had good breaks along the way to help get us and propel us to where we are today. But I mean, if you asked me back in 1996, would we still be doing this in 2021 and beyond? I would have said, I hope that we're still doing it.
Right.
I hope that we can carve a career out of it. I probably wouldn't have bet on it. I don't think it's a safe bet, but
no parlay for that one.
No parlay. Yeah. That's one where you just look at, you're like the odds on this one coming through are very long.
Yeah.
And very slim. But I mean, we also have to thank, just the people in this area who've stuck with us, from the beginning. I mean, we have some people who, that they'll come up to us at, when we used to do appearances pre-COVID, that would say, hey, I was listening to you guys when I was in 6th grade, and now like they have kids, or they're, finishing college, or, people have introduced their younger kids to our show. So that's cool to see that, we'll see screenshots of people that are watching on NBC Sports Washington. They'll watch the simulcast and they've got their kid like plopped down in a high chair, like a 2-year-old, like a toddler watching,
indoctrinating the
laugh, but it's cool. We think that's a cool thing that people are, they haven't gotten sick of us after 25 years that they've made us a part of, their daily hell commute in and out of DC or, Northern Virginia, wherever it is that people work.
Well, I have limited Stoner on some of his gushing here, because when we had EB on a few weeks ago, he spent 5 minutes just gushing about the Junkies. He's the one EB talked about having listened to every show since 2007, all the podcasts since
every single one, every single podcast ever put out. I've listened to every single one.
It's a very small subset of people like Stoner that do that, but like, another guy that's similar is that like he's a fringe show character is Chris Farley from Pacers Running Stores, who's he's a great story himself, where like he's a local guy. He's built he
sponsors our show, for the record.
Yeah, he's built like a running empire here in the DC area. He's built his brand. Like, he's a dude that he doesn't miss anything. Every podcast he listens to, any bonus content, like the Penn Fed podcast to go up, anything extra. Like you guys are like the 0.001% of the people that consume everything that we put out. And that's great. And we know that it's a small, maniacal, like lunatic fringe, but we love them. We love them all. We love you, Stoner, for doing that.
I appreciate that. Nathan kind of said it in passing there, but Chris Farley and Pacers Running, they are now sponsoring Ref the District.
Oh,
they're now a sponsor for Ref the District. And to be honest, what Chris Farley said when I reached out to him is he said, hey, anybody who loves the Junkies as much as I do, they're good in my book. You got a sponsor for your show. So
that's awesome.
We think that's pretty cool too.
I'm glad he's along for the ride. He's a great dude. I mean, he'll bend over backwards for you, do whatever you guys want. And look, you guys share a maniacal obsession with the show. So you guys are going to get along great.
Yeah, that's right. So let's talk a little bit about the Caps, and let's, we're not going to get too geeky into their roster and injuries and all that stuff. But if I remember correctly, you might have to correct me on this, but back in 2018, when they went down 0-2 to Columbus, and I believe you came in the next day and you said blow it up, right? You said it's just time to blow it up. It's time to trade Ovi and Backy and all. Just let's start all over.
I believe,
and then they went on that run.
Yeah, I believe the quote that got a lot of run on the show. I said that they're basically like a corpse floating in the Potomac.
That's right.
I said, like, just because it, I mean, you guys are Caps fans. You know the sordid history before winning the Cup, all of the early playoff exits, all of just getting demonized by the Penguins in the playoffs and not being able to vanquish them and get past them. And it just seemed like they were heading down that same sort of path. Another disappointing playoff exit for a team that just couldn't get it all put together for that postseason run. So, yeah, I was frustrated like a lot of other Caps fans. They went down 0-2 to CBJ, and I saw them losing like in 4 or 5 games, and I was in a sad, dark place after that second loss.
Yeah.
We all know the story. They rallied and were able to battle back and beat Columbus, and the massive win against the Penguins. And my one regret about that entire run was because I went to the game where they spanked Vegas at Capital One. I believe that was game 3 or 4. I can't.
Yeah, one of those. I remember that because you were inside. My wife and I, we were outside in that massive humanity that was watching on the.
I was lucky
the arena.
Full tickets. The crowd was amazing. It was super electric. Plus, the Caps just gave them the beatdown. And I was this close to going to booking a trip to Vegas.
Yeah.
I had like the Southwest screen up. I had the tickets up. I was about to book a hotel, and then it just, and I'm pissed that I did this. Then in the back of my brain, it was. Do I really want to spend $5,000 to go out and watch the Caps lose in Vegas? Do I want that? But I should have just trusted my instinct.
Gamble you should have made.
Yeah, that's a gamble I should have took because I was going to bring my daughter. She's a mega Caps fan, and that's something that I don't care about her missing school for a day or two. If we're going to watch Caps win the Cup on Vegas ice, like that's a life experience that you're never going to get in school. You're never going to learn. That would have been amazing. And it was still amazing to watch it here with my wife and my kids.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great moment, but it would have been pretty awesome to see it in person.
To be there.
To see, Ovi lift the cup and the primal scream and hand it off to Nick. I mean, it's got to be my best sports memory. How could it not be? Like I've been a Caps since I was a little kid, so
absolutely.
I regret not going, but I've already told my daughter, I've made a pact with her that if Caps ever have a chance to clinch the cup away from Capital One Arena, we're going.
Yeah.
We're just going.
Nice.
We're dropping everything. I don't care what your job is. I don't care what I'm doing. We're dropping everything. And we're going because I'm not gonna miss that opportunity again. So that's in the back of my brain. That's a plan that's just ready to go. It's a plug and play. So come on, Caps, let's make it happen. Let's do this.
Right. That's your daughter. That's your favorite child, right? Of the 3, right?
It's all legend. No favorite.
Legend, right?
But she is a mega. I mean, my kids are all Caps fans to varying degrees, but she's
the mega.
She's the one with the Cap shrine in her bedroom. She's one of the weird, really small subset that loves the Screaming Eagle Caps logo. She loves it. And
I love that logo too.
I like it with it redesigned with the red, white, and blue. That I love. I'm not so crazy about it in the bronze and the black. I mean, and the weird blue. Like I was never a big fan of that color scheme.
Yeah.
But the redesign, I can't buy enough of the gear. I can't get enough.
She's the one you do have to worry about with the ring, right? She's you got to keep the close eye with her around the ring.
I think my kids have already been. They're already like looking. I mean, they're looking toward when my demise happens, and hopefully that's another 50 years down the line.
Yeah.
It's going to be a battle for this.
Yeah. Everything, nothing else matters.
I might have to write this one into the will. Like you guys, like one of you has it for, each of you have it for
custody rights,
4 months. Pass it on, and just keep passing it along.
Yeah. Oh man. So when they did finally win, and you talked about missing out on going there, but you still have that euphoria. I remember you coming in for the show the next morning. And I think, didn't you say you went to Dick's Sporting Goods that night to get gear?
As soon as they won, and as soon as I saw Gary Bettman hand off the cup, and I saw the guys skating the cup for like half an hour, I told my daughter, I was like, let's hop in the car. We're going to Dick's. Went to Dick's in Gaithersburg. And it was open. I mean, they had made it known that if the Caps won, that they were going to be selling Caps gear. There were good amount of Caps fans in that building. There were probably 150, 200 people buying gear. This is like at 12:30, maybe close to 1 a.m. And I didn't care I couldn't have cared less what the prices were. Like the Champs hat that you're wearing, $35.
Right.
I bought like 4 of them. Shirts, pennants, everything. I think I racked up like, I don't know, $450, $500 worth of gear. But I didn't care. I couldn't have cared less. It could have cost 10 times that because I've been waiting to make that splurge purchase
your whole life.
My whole life.
Yeah.
My whole teenage into, young adulthood into fatherhood life. I was waiting for that purchase. I couldn't have cared what it cost. Just throw it all in the shopping cart and let's go up. And, cause I wanted to wear it the next day. I wasn't going to place an order on Fanatics and wait a week.
Yeah. Right.
No chance that was happening. I was wearing it the next day while we were popping champagne on the air.
And then go ahead, Nathan.
No, go ahead, Stoner.
Oh, I was just going to ask about the parade because the parade was another whole kind of experience for us as fans. I happen to work right down there. I work in 2 blocks from Verizon Center. So I was down there for the parade, just kind of checking out the whole scene. But you were in the parade. The Junks were riding in the parade. What was that experience like?
That's it's another hat tip to another beanie tip to all the people at Monumental, guys like Jim Van Stone, a high-ranking exec there, and Ted and everybody else who included us. Like, again, we have no business being in the parade. None. We were just broadcast partners. We had nothing to do with the cup run. We're not part of the team, but I think that's kind of cool, a cool aspect of the Capitals and Monumental. It's like a family type of atmosphere. So they wanted to include us, and of course we're going to do that. I mean, we're going to get out in front of, I don't know, how many people were there? 500,000?
100,000, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Roughly. I mean, it's a thrill. It's a thrill. And generally, I think parades stink for the most part, unless they're for winning cup titles or winning World Series.
Yeah.
A random like Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade with 100 floats, I couldn't care less about. But to celebrate the Caps winning, or if Washington football ever gets back on track, like in the glory years and starts winning titles, just an amazing honor. And it was surreal. Just like we know that our show is not for everybody. We understand. If we get a certain portion of the audience to get into us and enjoy what we're doing, it's great. And we've been able to carve a 25+ year career out of doing that. So like heading into it, we were like, man, are we going to get booed? But like people can be like, junkies,
what are these guys
doing here? But I mean, there might have been a little bit of that of like, oh, you guys, so what are you doing out there? But we got a lot of like just great like listener interaction and pops from the crowd, and people were, seemed like genuinely happy that we were involved with it. And I think a lot of that is because like you guys, like we've lived the struggle of the Caps just not fulfilling their promise and getting bounced out of the playoffs and getting tortured by the stupid Penguins and just falling short. And I think it was just cathartic for people to see us be involved with it because they know that we've covered the team throughout the years and that we're fans of the team, and that, I grew up, my dad had season tickets when, when nobody cared about the Caps. Nobody cared.
They're terrible. Yeah.
It it would be all Rangers fans, Philly fans, Pens fans coming into the old Cap Center. But then, after a while, they people started falling in love with the team, and it became a different vibe. And, now it's built into, we know what that home ice advantage is like at Capital One Arena. It's great. And the town is really bought in. And I just think that the winning the cup really just put them into the mainstream here. And it was a great experience. Would love to do it again. It would never get old. I'm sure that, if you win 20 cups like the Canadiens, maybe it gets old, but when you got one, you're ready for the next one.
You are ready.
Keep
ready
them
to get your hands on the next one,
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly been fun reliving that particular season. But what do you think is going to happen this upcoming season? From that fan perspective, what do you feel like? What are you embracing for?
I think it's going to be kind of fun to see some of the youth sprinkled in with the older core here. It's not the best omen when you're heading into the opener tomorrow with Nick sidelined with the hip issue, and Auville, is day to day with an injury, so it just kind of drives home. And look, these guys are not young anymore, and you're happy to have Auville in the fold for 5 more years, and we all hope that he's able to chase down Wayne Gretzky and get that goal scoring record and help keep this team, relevant in the Metro and keep making cup runs and deep playoff runs. But it'll be cool to see, if how Connor McMichael is worked in, and how the young goalie duo works out. I thought it was a coup, by the way, for them to get Vanacek back to mix in with Sammy for another year, because look, I mean, the Kraken could have, before they got Grubauer, I thought that was a smart move for them to get Vanacek, a young guy who had some experience this past season, and for McClellan to bring him back to swing a deal where he didn't even have to travel out to Seattle. He stays here. I think that helps. It helps, having 2 young goalies instead of one with, like a graybeard backup who's going to be in for 10 or 15 games. I like the mix of the 2 young goalies. So I think that's one of the exciting things for me is how the youth is going to mix in with guys like Backstrom and Auville and Oshie. It's a little bit of an older team. They need some youth injected into it. And so we'll have to see how those guys pan out.
Yeah. Well, man, we really appreciate you coming on the show. I know this is not something that you guys like to do too often, so we're very honored that you took the time to come out and talk to us and relive and look ahead to the next season. So we really appreciate it. We won't keep you from your 2 beers that you still have to get to before you hit the sack tonight. So
yeah, you do know the show very well.
Oh, I got them.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys again for having me. I appreciate it. If you want me to come back at some point, just reach out. Just let me know. It's been fun. And look, you guys are doing the same sort of thing we were doing when we first started, because you guys are obviously passionate about not only DC sports, all sports, but keeping it with the Caps and this fan base. That they're passionate. They're going to follow you guys. They're going to keep up with us, and we're going to try to root the Caps on to another Stanley Cup. And they're going to drop the puck tomorrow, and hopefully Willie gets in a scrum with Ryan Reeves. And,
yeah, right. Get that out of the way.
It's nice and chippy from game 1. I'm ready for the season to start, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Did they get a victory tomorrow?
I've learned my lesson here. Stoner knows this story. I'll part with this story. I can't remember the year, but we were invited. I think it was me and might have been JP. I can't remember who it was, but 2 of us were invited out to Capital One for a Caps game to do like an on ice between the periods promo type bit. Is that team called the Red Rockers? I don't want.
Those who do the
crowd,
yeah.
I could be wrong, whatever. So between periods, we're out at we're right near the team benches. We're getting interviewed, and so the woman who's interviewing me, she goes, "So what do you think happens how does this game turn out?" And the Caps are playing the Flyers.
Yeah,
And
they're playing the Flyers.
Instead of just being like, "Hey, stupid, read the room." Okay,
Right.
There's 19,000 people here. You just grab the mic and say, "This game's awesome. Caps are playing well. Let's go, Caps!" 5 seconds and you're done. And just like, I lost my mind temporarily, and I just gave like a 10-second breakdown of the game. I was like, I think the Flyers are going to win. They're up like 3-1. It's like we're going into the third period. Flyers win. And you boo, booze rained down. I was like, oh, what have I done? That was so stupid.
You're trying to give them you're trying to be the straight man and tell them kind of how it is, but that's not what you were there for.
That was not. I was there. I was there to hype the crowd. I was there to be a Caps cheerleader, and I dropped the ball and I failed miserably. So,
and how many times have you been back to do that since? That's right.
0.
Yeah.
0.
Yeah, like, you're not coming back.
They learned their lesson, huh?
He's going to pick the opponent. He's an idiot, that guy.
He's going to turn the crowd against us.
So, I mean, I've been in a lot of Caps games since, but I have not been out on the ice since. And I know why, because I'm stupid.
Well, we appreciate your Cakes for joining us.
If I ever get that opportunity, I'm picking the Caps.
Yeah.
Always.
All right.
Always. You're on their ice. Of course you'd pick them.
Yeah. Learn my lesson.
All right, Cakes. Well, we appreciate you joining us. This has been Johnny Cakes Auville from 106.7's The Sports Junkie. Appreciate you for joining us here on Ref the District's Washington Capitals season preview. And hopefully they do get that W, even if Cakes doesn't want to predict a victory for us.
Appreciate you. There you go. Appreciate you, Cakes.
Thank you guys again.
Appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Well, that was pretty awesome. That was
I know
really,
you're on cloud nine. Awesome. You got another one of your junkies dudes, on there.
Man. Love them. Yeah, it's no exaggeration, like you said, that I've listened to every single episode of theirs since 2007, and so they're basically, idols. And as he said, we're in the same place that they were doing it. We're talking about sports with our boys, and we just happen to be doing it, in a public forum, and that's how they started out. And we kind of model ourselves after them a little bit in terms of, we try to not copy them, but we take cues from them and see what works for them and see how that can work.
They're a successful program for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sarah's joining us here on YouTube. I'm on cloud nine and I haven't listened to a single episode.
Oh
yeah. Cakes is a fun guy and definitely a Caps fan. It was cool listening to him relive that season. And I agree with him. This upcoming season, you have to wonder. He talked about how the Capitals had disappointing playoff exit after disappointing playoff exit. Into that particular season where everything just clicks and they end up hoisting the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it's been that same story, though.
Right back to it.
Disappointing end of the season, right?
Yep.
So you kind of hope that this year is another one where they get to turn that around. Maybe this year with that youth and kind of infused with some of those older, more experienced players. However, the Capitals still have the third oldest roster.
They do. That's worrisome.
In the league.
That's worrisome.
Are there any of the younger players that you really expect to stand up this year in a way that can really bridge the gap for some of these older players?
Well, I mean, you've got Connor McMichael. He's kind of the name. He's their number one pick from a couple of years ago. It wasn't a high pick because they're always a pretty good team and they'll be in the playoffs, but still he's their number one guy. He's been absolutely tearing it up at every level since he got into their organization. He's only 19 or 20 years old, and he's the big name. He's the guy. He's the young guy that's supposed to be the savior once this older crew moves on out. But this will be his first time with the big boys to start the season. And I don't know how long he's going to be here. I don't know if he's just here while Backstrom is hurt, and then eventually he's going to make it into the regular rotation. We'll just kind of have to see about what happens with him and with the other guys, the younger guys. The other guys, I really don't even know how to say their name other than Lapierre. You could say Lapierre pretty easy, but the other guy is Faharvi. Or Sammy Silber is going to be able to tell us how to say that.
It is going to be a fun capital season for me, as the hockey names are just. We thought we were going to have some fun just with some of those Washington football team names, like the linebacker Jordan K. But yeah, these hockey names, I'm not even going to try.
Yeah.
The goalie situation, Cakes mentioned the fact that they have the two younger goalies. I like them too. I'm glad that they're sticking with those. I agree with him. The fact that they were able to get him back for a second rounder.
Was it a second rounder? Is that what they had to give up? I don't even know.
I want to say it was a second rounder.
You might be right.
I want to say it was a second rounder. Practically nothing in my eyes. Like, I was just like this, like it flipped so quickly. Because this was a goalie I think that still has some promise.
Sure. And he's a young guy too. They're not old.
And is young. Yeah. So I like the fact that they'll have these two young goalies going in there and competing. Now, do you think it's a problem that they don't have a number one goalie?
Yeah. I don't know. Goalie is such a different animal. It's really different than any position in all of sports. You can't really explain it. You can win a Stanley Cup with a guy you never heard of that started the season, or you can win a cup with the greatest goalie of all time. It's hard to say. So some have done the rotation. You just go with the guy who's hot. And in fact, in the Stanley Cup run, a lot of people don't remember this. In 2018, they started off those first two games against Columbus with, I think it was Grubauer, right? Who is now going to be the Kraken's goalie. I believe he was their guy because he had played well down the stretch, and Holtby was basically benched. So it was Grubauer the first two games, and then finally in game 3, they decided, well, we got to change something up here because this isn't working. Let's go back to Holtby. And then Holtby never left the crease after that. He was the guy. He had some amazing games, some saves that like you've never seen before. So I don't think there's like there is in the NFL, you got to have a quarterback if you're going to win. Like it is in Major League Baseball, you have to have a stud pitcher that's going to help you get through all those game 7s or games 1s and game 7s. With goalies, and you just never know. It can be somebody you never heard of who can just get hot. So we'll have to see how that works with these two.
All right. Well, I'm done talking to you about the big stuff because we're going to join our professional guest, and we're going to let her do all the big talk. In fact, we're going to make her the big special guest here. I want to welcome Sammy Silber, editor-in-chief of Washington Hockey Now. And I really do hope, I didn't actually check this before, that I'm pronouncing that last name correctly.
You are 100%. Sorry, I was having a little bit of technical difficulties here.
Are you good to go now? You're all set?
I'm doing great. I'm ready to rock and roll.
All right.
We were just talking about how those hockey names can be difficult to pronounce, and I was just like, as soon as I saw that name, I was just like, man, I didn't think to check that before coming on air today. Sammy, thank you for joining us here on Ref the District's Washington Capitals season preview. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where our fans can find you and the content that you produce.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Sammy. I am the editor-in-chief and lead writer of Washington Hockey Now. I was very lucky to get the call and appreciate them taking a chance on me, even though I look like I'm 12. But these launched in we launched in June, and it's an honor to get to go to the rink and write every day. We're on Twitter at WSH Hockey Now. I can't spell. That's not a red flag.
That's kind of a prerequisite for writing, isn't it? And editing, you have to be able to spell.
Yeah. Oh, I hope my boss isn't watching. And then,
Right.
We actually do hope that he'll watch that little part. He'll forgive. He'll forgive that.
Yeah, he'll let that
oh,
go.
he'll love it. He'll love it. Dan will love it. And then you can find me on Twitter at Sammy_Silber, Silber. Instead of, the V with silver, it's B. So that's rocking and
Gotcha.
rolling, It's fun times.
And
Good
what
vibes,
what does Washington hockey now? I mean, it's obviously all about the Washington Capitals. So how long have you been working with them, and it's kind of like a beat reporter job, right? You're just all about the Washington hockey. How long have you been doing that?
Yeah, so when I was actually, I'll give you a little bit of a backstory. When I was in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was like, maybe I'll be a teacher, but then I was like, wait a minute, am I good with kids? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, so maybe I'll try my hand at writing. I've loved hockey since I was 9. I went to a Caps game and there were a bunch of fights, Jose Theodore in net and all that fun stuff. So absolutely fell in love with the game and wanted to be a part of it. So when I got to high school, I was like, maybe I'll try my hand at writing. I've written a couple books. So I was like, I'll try the journalism realm and see if I can do it. And I turned out to be decent at it. Worked for a couple blogs through college, just soaked in every opportunity I could, learned from every single, to sound like a hockey player, learn from every single veteran, but you really do learn from every single journalist you come to face with. And I woke up really early, got on the metro, got to the rink each and every morning, and was lucky enough to earn the respect of my colleagues and get the chance to cover the Washington Capitals live in 2017. I think I was like 18 when I started writing about hockey, but I was 20 years old when I first started covering the Caps live.
Wow.
Got to go to the Stanley Cup final and got an internship, worked with NBC Sports Washington, NBC Sports for a bit, Sporting News. I bebopped around. And, got an opportunity to the Sports Capital as well. They were the ones who really helped me launch everything and take that step into the professional realm, and got very fortunate to get the call to start watching Hockey Now on the National Hockey Now Network. And I'm just really happy to be here. I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful to, experience it every single day.
Well, we have read some of your stuff, and you are very good at it. So absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
Can't spell when writing those articles.
Yeah,
so.
That's right.
Oh,
that's
dear.
right.
That's good to hear.
So let's get into this Capitals team, and let's get into their roster a little bit. We were talking a little bit before you came on with Johnny Cakes Auville from 106.7 The Fan. The Sports Junkies was on before you, and he touched on there's some new faces this year that we're really not used to, right? There's some young guys. We're used to being just a completely veteran team. And now all of a sudden you've got McMichael and you've got Lapierre and you've got the guy, I can't pronounce his last name. We were trying to do that. Faharavi?
Faravari, yeah.
Faravari. All right. See, I won't forget it now. But are these guys the future of this team once the Ovies and Backies and all those guys, once they start aging out? Are these the guys, or are these just kind of guys who are going to be there for a couple years?
I got to tell you, I mean, from the looks of training camp and what we've seen development wise from a couple of these guys over the past year, I really do think that they're a good step toward the future of the Capitals. Like you said, it's been a veteran core for a long time, and that's also semi the plan heading into this season. Actually, if you look at the opening night roster, the Caps still, are the third oldest team in the NHL by average. But looking at that, I mean, there's still a great mix of youth in there. I mean, McMichael, he was fitting right in. He came off a great summer. He put on, some muscle. He trained with Gary Roberts' Performance over the summer. He was telling us that he got to skate with Stamkos and McDavid and learn from those guys. So, you see him come into camp. He's skating with speed. He's showing, why he was a first-round pick. He can get to the net. He knows the high-scoring areas. He has a really good shot. He has a great hockey IQ. So that's talent right there. And then Lapierre, I mean, by far, I think he's been the most impressive kid at Caps camp, but he's really showing that he can be the future, of this team as one of the, the big centers. He's 19 years old, but he had a great rookie camp, extremely vocal, taking on a leadership role. And every single day, he's always trying to learn something. He was talking a little bit about, TJ Oshie. He's been following him around. I think he said, he hopes that he's not annoying or anything, but he works on different game situations. He's trying to work on face-offs, trying to work on tips in front of the net. But the way he skates is so smooth, and the way, that he's confident in himself and he can make these plays, and every opportunity that he gets to step out on the ice, I mean, you see this kid just completely, put himself on the radar. Like, you can't miss him when you're watching. And then with Ferravari, I mean, the Caps have, an incredible arsenal of left-handed D-men, but he's looked really good. He's very, very strong. He's put on a lot of muscle. He's more confident in himself. He was talking today with us, chatting a little bit about how he feels much more mature. He's, much more confident in his game. He's skating well. He's playing well with John Carlson. He's very aware in both ends. He's moving up, joining the rush, and that's what, they want. That's what Laviolette wants to see. So I really do, think that he's a big part of the blue line going forward, especially, with everything that's happened with Michael Kempney and, seeing Trevor Van Riemsdyk play on the left side. You need strong left-handed guys to come in, and Ferravari is one of them. So I really do think these guys are the future. And, let's not forget about, Beck Malenstein, made his first roster too, and hard-hitting guy, throwing his weight around, coming off a torn Achilles, held him out all last season, and he's killing it. He's looked great. He's putting in a lot of effort. So, you're seeing a lot of youth come in, and these guys look really, really, really good. So a lot of confidence there.
That's actually great to hear. I think one of the biggest worries for some fans is the fact that they do have that aging core. And one of the worries is that aging core is also injured starting out, this season. How big is Backstrom's injury going to be to start this season? And you also have kind of Ovi's banged up and some other of the other veterans also kind of nicked at this point. It's a long season. You don't want to see them injured at this point. How big are those injuries right now?
Yeah, I mean, you never want to see anybody go down like that, and it's very reassuring when you have young guys, who are able to step in. Backstrom took the ice this morning a little bit before the optional skate. He wasn't in full gear or anything, and he was, just skating around, getting his legs back, going slowly but surely. We caught up with him at training camp. He didn't skate through camp, but he mentioned, it's patience. And that's been the message from him and Laviolette. It's a hip injury. It's something maybe that, relates back to that 2015, issue with it. And you can't rush that. It's a very, 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 thing that you need to take time with. And there's no point in rushing him back. If he's not ready, you can't throw him into a situation, especially, if the guy hasn't skated since the start of camp. You're not going to throw him in there opening night, especially in a game against the Rangers, which who knows how that's going to go.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it will for sure. But it's very good to see him on the ice. He did say it's more long term than short term. And the long term injured reserve, obviously, he's going to be missing. I think the earliest he can come back is November 6th against Philly. You need to miss at least 10 games when you're on there per the rules. As for Ovi, he took the ice for optional practice. There were a couple of not disappearing acts, but he did, come off the ice and then get back on. It looked like at first he was just trying to get his legs back, just kind of take it slow, and then he was really getting into it. He was practicing those one-timers from the office. He looked pretty dang good. Lavi didn't really have an definitive answer for us on whether or not he'll play tomorrow, but definitely day by day, not a long-term thing.
That's good.
So that's a very, very good sign, especially, first year of the new contract, you're working toward a pretty big, milestone, just a teeny one, and
just one of the biggest records in all of sports.
Yeah, it's there. But good sign for him and good sign for Backstrom as well, seeing him on the ice. So that's good. That's good. So I think all positives, but we'll wait and see.
Before you came on, Nathan and I were talking about the goalie situation. And we were kind of going back and forth about, is it better to have two pretty good goalies, or is it better to have your number one and then your guy who plays 10 games a year, or somebody who just kind of does a spot start here and there? In this case, you got two young guys. Is that a good thing to have these two young guys and not necessarily have a number one goalie?
That's a good question. Because I mean, their goaltending is always something I've admired, throughout watching the game through my life. It's just something that, is so ever changing, and you can be a veteran and still be really good, or, things can fade away as time goes on. But I really like Washington going with a young tandem. I thought Vitek was great last season. I really did. I thought he was thrown into very unexpected circumstances. Nobody expected him to really, jump into the throes of the NHL right away. It was going to be, probably Lundqvist, serving as a mentor and kind of a backup to Sammy. And that's obviously unfortunate circumstances led to a huge opportunity for Vitek. And I think he really, hit the ground running. I think he came up huge at times. It's, there are still things to work on. There's still, consistency, the rebound control, but, he's worked great in, net, and he's looked good through camp and the preseason, and having a young guy like that, who he was an all-star in Hershey, and he can translate that over to the NHL level. And he's shown that he can do that. That's why Seattle took him for a week. So
yeah, for a whole week.
Yeah, he was, we were joking about it, and he was like, no, like I didn't go up to Seattle. He thought about sending his car there, but I didn't. So you have, him coming back, and I think that he'll really, after a stellar rookie season as one of the top, freshman goalies in his class, he'll come in with a really good season. Then you have Sammy, who same name as me, it's create some confusion. No, I'm kidding.
He gets some points.
But, no, it's funny. Every time someone says Sammy, I turn my head and like, no, nobody's talking to you,
Right,
right. But no, I mean, Sammy, signed a bridge deal this summer, which is kind of like, well, prove it, and I think he's shown a lot of good signs. He's feeling good. It's injuries that have really gotten in the way of a lot of the development, I think, and not so much the development, more the chance to really, let me show you what I have for an extended period of time. You saw the COVID protocol last year and all that stuff down the stretch, but I thought he looked really good in that series against Boston. And I don't go too much into the stats. I try not to be like, oh, well, the goals against average. Like, I really like to look at the play. The stats, of course,
you just use the old eye test, right?
Yeah, I do. I wear glasses, don't worry. But I'm not wearing them now. Yeah. But it is very good to get the visuals. I think you get a much better sense of who the players are, not just on the ice, but off the ice. You see the confidence in these young guys, and it's genuinely there. And both of them have something big to prove this season. And with that being said, when you have two guys who want something so bad, and it's going to be a competition, but it's also going to be a joint effort, you're really good shape there. So I think them running with this two goalie system and relying in the, youth again, what I mean? And both these guys coming in healthy, coming in 100% and feeling good. So I think we'll see a lot from them this season. I'm expecting a lot.
All right. Well, I mentioned it's a long season, but where do you think Washington ends up at the end of the season? What's the season looking like right now?
You guys are asking the good questions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, we bring it. we bring it, Sammy. When you come
Yeah.
on this show, you
No.
better be ready, right?
Yeah, I love this. I'm loving this. I'm seeing good things. I really am, and I'm not just saying that. I mean, a lot of camp looked really promising. I mean, I really think we'll see a new look Kuznetsov this season. He's looked absolutely incredible. He came into camp in great shape. He's been skating well. You know, he wants to be mentally present. And I think that he is mentally present. And that right there will be huge, especially with Backstrom out. You need a guy like Kuzi to come in and step up. Same goes for Lawyers. He absolutely looks phenomenal. I thought he was great in the preseason, getting his legs back, and that'll be key. There's still areas to clean up. There needs to be consistency. I think the power play definitely needs some work. I think that's something that they're still trying to work on and improve on, but I think it's just a matter of still adapting to different systems, especially this Laviolette's second year. It's his first year really without, I mean, there's still COVID, it's still very real, but you're not as strict with the protocols, thankfully, because of the vaccine, right? So you get more hands-on time with the players. You get to see them in the room. You're not Zoom calling and doing video walkthroughs. You're on the ice with them and you're really getting to know them. So that being said, and also seeing the youth and what they want to prove, I really think that we'll see a lot from this team this year. Hopefully we'll also see, guys like Kempney who, are still working to come back, from their injuries down Hershey, see them improve as well. So throughout the organization, you're really seeing a lot of guys get the chance to really prove something. So I disagree with John Scott. I don't know if he's listening, but yeah, I think this can remain a playoff team. I'm not too concerned about that, especially, in the Metro. It's a physical division, everybody's aware. Everybody knows it. Yeah, that fourth line's doing well. I think you're going to see a good team this year.
Excellent. Love to hear it. And we'd love to hear from you, Sammy. This is Sammy Silber, editor-in-chief of Washington Hockey Now, here with us on Ref the District's Washington Capitals season preview. Thank you, Sammy, for joining us here today. We hope to have you on again as the season progresses, talking more Capitals.
Oh, I'm invited back. Awesome. All right.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you were fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Oh, this is so rewarding. My dog's like looking at me. She's like, "You did good, Mom." No, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for having me. But yeah, I mean, big game against the Rangers tomorrow, so everybody's excited for that one.
Did
Absolutely.
they get the W?
I think so.
Right.
I'm not biased, but I mean, with the matchups I'm seeing and the mentality I'm seeing from the team, it'll be a gritty one, but I think the Caps will pull through. I don't have a final score prediction because I'm not good at math, but
yeah,
I think I'm good with letters, so let's go with W.
That's good. W. Nice.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, Sammy. You heard it here first. Sammy's predicted a victory. All right. Thank you again. That's Sammy Silber from Washington Hockey Now. You can catch her out on Twitter at Sammy_Silber and at Washington Hockey Now, which is at WASH Hockey Now. It is actually quite difficult to get that out there. So props for her to moving us around here real quick.
Yeah.
Well, that was our Washington Capitals season preview. And
well, of course, I do want to hear you like your prediction for the season before we go.
I agree with Sammy. I think that this team still has it in them to make it to the playoffs. My biggest concern is the fact that the veteran core is already starting off injured. And that's why I asked that question, right? Like, this is a long season. Hockey is a very physical sport, and these guys are not young. And so the fact that they're starting off already, kind of banged up, I want them to get healthy so that way they can be there and push towards the postseason. I don't know how far they can go in the postseason. Yeah. I was very happy to hear from people who are more experienced with hockey than I am that those younger players are stepping up, right? I like to hear that. I like to hear that you have them looking to take on some of those leadership responsibilities. I like to hear that they're getting it, that they're, making those moves that they need to. So how about you?
Yeah, I think all of that makes a lot of sense. They have a nice mix of youth and experience. And like you said, it's all about the injuries. Last year, they were rolling into the playoffs. They were on fire. And what happened? Ovi got dinged up. Oshie was dinged up. Lars Eller was dinged up. And I believe Carlson was really dinged up. And when you say dinged up for a hockey player, these are serious injuries. They will play through some of the most gruesome injuries. I remember a couple years ago when they were making a run and they got knocked out, and Ovi they were saying, he had a lower body injury that he was playing through. And then they showed pictures of him, and he had the back of his leg was completely purple and yellow from his calf all the way up to his buttocks, or whatever you want to, I guess I said it, up to his butt. So it was so nasty looking, and he could barely walk, but he would get out there and he would try to play. So it's injuries for this team, because they are mostly a veteran, older team.
All right. Well, we'll see where the team goes. Of course, you'll hear more from us as the season progresses. We'll be back tomorrow live, 7 p.m. as our normal time. We're going to be doing a preview for the Washington football team. You can catch us 7 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. You can also catch us on your favorite audio platform, wherever you want to listen to. And we're sponsored by Pacers Running Stores. Catch them at one of their 6 locations located in the district or Northern Virginia, or check them out at runpacers.com. For every run, Pacers Running exists to help as many people as possible through running. Jazzy, my lovely wife, has her virtual fitting this evening. Looking forward to that.
In about an hour, right? Yeah,
in about an hour. We're really looking forward to seeing how that goes. And Wizards preview next week, 7 p.m. Check that one out. And until next time, I'm Nathan Perry, and that's the Stoner. Trev wasn't with us this time. He's hiding out backstage right now. But until next time, be a fan.
Be a fan.
We love Washington, and we some die-hard fans. Yeah, we are. You know we keep it on 10. 1, 2, 3, let's go. And they gifted. We are ref the district. Podcast. Come on now and join us.